Hello everyone. So today we are going to learn about viruses. The previous videos we learned about mutation, double mutation, triple mutation, the mutant, variant, etc. So here we are going to learn in general about the viruses. Also we learn the different types of virus, how we can recover from a viral fever quickly, and also something interesting about the virus, that is what we have learned in mutation, etc. Here's something new which I'm added over here or found during the research work. Now the second slide, here you can see the first animation where virus enters the cells. After entering the cell, it releases the genetic material, and the genetic material directly enters into the nucleus. As we have learned before, once the genetic material enters into the nucleus, it starts to replicate, make the copies. Right? Now in the second image here, again you can see how the spike protein of the virus attaches itself onto the surface, and then it easily enters into the cell, and thereby the genetic material of the virus, whether it will be DNA or an RNA, which enters into the nucleus and starts to replicate or multiply itself. Third animation image is of a bacteriophage virus. As we can see, the virus, once it attaches itself, it injects the thread-like DNA into the bacteria. So this bacteriophage virus infects the bacteria. As we know, bacteria itself is very small, but viruses much smaller than that. So there are viruses which attacks the bacteria also. Then now detailed description about the virus. A virus is a submicroscopic infectious agent that replicates only inside the living cell organism. Now as we know, virus, it utilizes a living organism to replicate or make the copies. Otherwise the virus is as good as a stone, non-living thing. So there was always a debate, it's a living or a non-living. So virus utilizes a living organism and then makes the replica of itself. Further, virus infects all type of life forms, from animals, plants, and to the microorganism, which includes bacteria and archaea. Now archaea or archaebacteria, it is the earliest known microorganism, which is almost similar to the bacteria or has a separate kingdom like archaea kingdom, where you learn about different species of microorganism. Then the origin of virus is unclear, as they do not form fossils. Unlike plant animals, we know how they originated, when they originated, right, because of the fossils, but viruses don't have any fossil as such. That's why the exact origin is not clear. The discovery of first virus was tobacco mosaic virus in the year 1892 by the scientist Ivanovsky. Viruses is smaller than a bacterium that cannot grow or reproduce apart from a living cell. As I mentioned the first point, the virus is smaller than a bacterium, hence even it attacks a bacteria. So it requires a living organism or living cell to reproduce or replicate. A virus invades living cells and uses their chemical machinery to keep itself alive and to replicate itself. Viruses may contain either DNA or RNA as their genetic material. So as we saw in the first animation slide of the previous one, or first, second, both, the virus, it comes onto the surface of the cell, inject itself into the body through the spike protein, and then releases the genetic material. Genetic material directly invades the nucleus, and then they start to reproduce or multiply. Now viruses cannot die. Why? For the simple reason that they aren't alive in the first place. That is why there is no medication as such, treatment as such, because virus does not live, or as just I mentioned, it's not a living or a non-living. They utilizes the living cells to reproduce itself. Nor do virus has cells. They are very small, much smaller than the cells of living and are basically just packages of nucleic acid and protein. They can't reproduce by themselves without a host. Viruses are not considered living, but when it finds a host, virus can multiply and spread rapidly, which is what we are seeing in the present scenario, where virus they enter into the human body and starts to multiply. Now in the present COVID situation, as you can see, they are multiplying faster, creating different mutations, double, triple, or as we learned in the earlier videos, how they spread rapidly. Viruses can't thrive independently, so they don't exist independently. They invade a host organism and hijack its genetic instructions or the genetic material, thereby they making the Xerox copies of itself. Viruses might have existed before and led to evolution of cellular life. Virus attacks by killing the cells or disrupting the cell function. That's what they do. They once enter into the cell, release the genetic material, starts to multiply and damage the cell or disrupt the function of the living organism. So here our bodies often respond with fever and heat inactivates many viruses. So whenever some foreign agent or antigen or any microorganism enters our body immediately just responds. How? By producing heat, or we can simple words fever, right? So because of fever we can just simply understand that something foreign agent has entered our body. That is why the fever indicates or signals us that is something happening inside or some foreign agent has entered our body. The secretion of a chemical called interferon, which blocks the virus from reproducing, or by marshalling the immune system, antibodies and other cells to target the invader. Now in the present situation, what we can see, the virus they escapes our body immune system. Why? Because they're mutating. And again in the previous video, that is the mutant, where I told about something interesting, camouflage. So the camouflage of mimic our body cells, thereby escaping our own immune system. Okay. Then now here the slides showing viral shapes. So we can say basically there are four shapes in case of virus, that is polyhedral, for example adenovirus, spherical, influenza virus, the complex structure of bacteriophage, and helical, tobacco mosaic virus. So virus may be in hundreds, but they can be divided into these four categories by which we can differentiate all the other viruses. Viruses come in variety of shapes. Even shapes differ, where we learned the four. There is measles, bacteriophage, tobacco mosaic virus, herpes virus, and even rabies virus. If you see the rabies virus, it is slightly elliptical or oval in shape rather than the other four shape which we learned. So virus size can be 0.2 nanometer. So here again different images like HIV, hepatitis B, which shows the spherical structure. Ebola virus, it's actually worm like or appearing like a worm. Adenovirus, which is polyhedral. Influenza virus, which is again spherical. Rabies virus, as I mentioned, it can be helical shape or moreover elliptical or oval in shape. Bacteriophage, the complex structure. Papilloma virus, rotavirus, herpes virus, all moreover spherical in shape. Now, viral diversity. As just we saw in the previous slide here, the helical structure, tobacco mosaic virus, the polyhedral structure, there is adenovirus, the spherical structure, influenza virus, and the complex one of the bacteriophage. So if you see here, I added at this point host. So this moreover the helical structure of tobacco mosaic virus seen in plants or infecting the plants, adenovirus, influenza virus infecting the animals, and the bacteriophage virus infecting the bacteria. So here little bit of detail. Helical structure, which has RNA as the genetic material and a capsid structure. Helical virus like tobacco mosaic virus, which infects a number of different types of plants, having a slinky shaped capsid that twists around and encloses the genetic material, that is RNA. Whereas polyhedral, which has got a capsid, DNA and also glycoprotein. So polyhedral virus like adenovirus, which are known to cause a range of illness from pink eye to pneumonia, are composed of genetic material surrounded by a many-sided capsule, usually with 20 triangular faces. Then spherical virus, again which has got a RNA as a genetic material, capsid and also glycoprotein. Spherical virus like infamous coronavirus are essentially helical virus enclosed into a membrane known as an envelope, which is spiked with sugary proteins that assist in sticking to and entering the host cell. And fourthly, the complex virus, which is a bacteriophage, has a head, DNA as the genetic material, tail sheath and the tail fiber. Here complex virus like bacteriophage, which infect and kill bacteria, resembles a lunar lander and are composed of a polyhedral head and a helical body or a tail sheath and legs for tail fibers that attach to a cell membrane so that it can transfer its genetic material. As we saw in the second slide, how this comes onto the bacteria, then that's why the term used over here is lunar lander, as we send our satellites onto the different orbits, right? So it attaches itself and then injects its back the genetic material, that is DNA, into the host. Then here again I got a very good image, high definition image of a virus which is 100 nanometer. In the second animation we can see virus ranging from 100, which we can see in the first one, to as small as 10 micrometer. So virus itself has a varied range of shape and structure. That's why in the third image where I show 120 nanometer, which is the present coronavirus, and then RPF, flavivirus, Tula virus or hantavirus, Lassa virus or arena virus, influenza virus, orthomyxovirus, HRPV6, that is pleopovirus, which is as small as 40 nanometers. So we can see the range from 120 nanometer to 100 to 40 nanometer in size. Then virus structure. You can see the capsule, the inner genetic material, capsid, surface protein, viral envelope, surface protein, virus genetic material, which you already learned in the video of mutation and mutant, how they are having their structure and the inner components. Then here something interesting I added over here, which I had not come across until all the research work which I am doing, that is mutation. Until now we are learning about mutation of coronavirus, replication, all those things, right? Now by mutation you can see the mutant or the variant as they enter the host organism, polymerase nucleus changes in the sequence of the nucleotide as a result of proofreading activity, and then it starts to multiply using the host nucleus. So different possibility progeny virus, different variants are possible. Now we have learned about double mutation, how it happens, incorporation of foreign genetic material through recombination, template switching. So how double mutant is formed. Then here from double mutant, if you see how triple mutant is formed, how the mixing takes place, packaging of different genetic segment. So here we learned about mutation, but here they use the term recombination, which is a rare event, reassortment during co-infection of two viruses. Now as the biology teacher, we have come across the term recombination biotechnology, where we learn our DNA technology or recombinant DNA technology, or how to the genes can be inserted, or required gene can be inserted by using a host or a plasmid, or how cloning can be carried out. But here they use this term recombination in case of virus mutation, which until now have not come across in anywhere. We have just heard about mutation, right? So there can be a possibility of recombination and reassortment, where the two viruses, they by during co-infection they form a triple mutant, just as we learned in the video, triple mutant, or the Bengal strain which is highly infectious, or a double mutant strain which is highly infectious, escapes our immune system. So personally what I believe is, if the scientists, researchers look into the recombinant or the reassortment aspect, there can be some leads related to the viral mutation rather than just going sticking to one point of mutation, thinking from recombination or reassortment point of view. Okay. Then the disease caused by virus. Again, we have come across hundreds of diseases, right? So here some of those: AIDS, common cold, smallpox, measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, shingles, hepatitis, herpes and cold sores, polio, rabies, Ebola and Hanta fever, respiratory syncytial viral infections, specifically infecting the respiratory system, adenovirus, parainfluenza virus, severe acute respiratory syndrome, there is SARS virus, rotavirus infection, neurological viral disease. Now this particular disorder or disease, the viral infects the brain specifically or the nervous system. Then coronavirus, where we can see the different strains, right? Now, so the images of various virus like hepatitis C virus, coronavirus, which you have seen various strains and images in the previous videos, herpes virus, bird flu virus, smallpox and influenza virus. Now, as I mentioned in the very first slide, you can see how the flu virus and the influenza virus, actually it is more complicated than the other viruses, right? Then here a little bit tabular form where you can see some important viruses, the virus, family, disease and genome type. Adenovirus, adenoviridae, respiratory infection, dsDNA, that is double stranded DNA. Then Ebola virus, filoviridae, hemorrhagic fever, single stranded RNA, is ssRNA. Then Epstein-Barr virus, herpes viridae, infection, mononucleosis, dsDNA. Hepatovirus A, picomoviridae, hepatitis A, ssRNA, herpes simple type 1, herpes viridae, cold sores, dsDNA, herpes simplex type 2, herpes viridae, genital warts, dsDNA warts, that is small mole-like appearance during the infection. Human immunodeficiency virus is HIV, retroviridae or AIDS, that is single stranded RNA. Human papillomavirus, papilloviridae, warts, dsDNA, influenza, orthomyxoviridae, influenza, single-stranded RNA, Lassa virus or Lassa virus, arenaviridae, Lassa fever, ssRNA, morbillovirus, paramyxoviridae, measles, ssRNA, Norwalk virus, calciviridae, enteritis, ssRNA, paramyxoviridae, mumps, ssRNA, poliovirus, picomaviridae, poliomyelitis, ssRNA, rabies virus, rabidoviridae, rabies, ssRNA, rhinovirus, picomaviridae, common cold, ssRNA, rotavirus, reoviridae, enteritis, dsRNA, rubeolovirus, togaviridae, German measles, ssRNA, smallpox, poxviridae, smallpox, dsDNA, then varicella zoster, herpes viridae, chickenpox, shingles, dsDNA, yellow fever virus, that is flaviviridae, yellow fever, ssRNA. The genome of HIV, like that of other retrovirus, also has a DNA phase. Here again the image of HIV, hepatitis B, Ebola virus, adenovirus, influenza, rabies virus, bacteriophage, papillomavirus, rotavirus and herpes. Now again here as has shown various images of viruses as well as bacteria, starting from HIV virus, Helicobacter pylori, coronavirus, Staphylococcus aureus, which is a bacterial infection, pneumococcus, again a bacteria, chlamydias, pneumoniae, varicella zoster virus, lactobacillus vibrio cholerae, which is a comma shaped bacteria, this lactobacillus rod shape, rabies, Lissa virus, Clostridium tetani, Trypanosoma pallidum, Haemophilus influenza, meningococcus, again a bacteria, Yersinia pestis, hepatovirus A, Bacillus anthracis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Anaplasma, Salmonella, rotavirus, measles virus, Zika virus, adenovirus, bacteriophage, West Nile virus, influenza virus, bifidobacterium, Saccharomyces, Botidia, Streptococcus, Thermophilus. Now, just to add a point over here, like viruses, where we learned four types in the beginning, it is polyhedral, spherical, the complex structure and the helical. Even bacteria, there are hundreds of bacteria, but based on the structure, there are four. That is spherical, where you can see the streptococcus, pneumococcus, the rod shape, that is lactobacillus, comma shape, vibrio, and the spirally spiral shaped. Now, how we can recover from the viral fever quickly? First, simple, stay home. Your body needs time and energy to recover. Also, staying home also prevents spreading the infection to other people in your community or workplace. So, staying home not only helps the individual to recover, also it prevents from spreading. Otherwise, what happens? The infected person, he keeps on traveling or workplace or in the community, starts to spread, which we have seen in the second wave of COVID, where it is spreading fast to the entire community or in the entire family, etc. Then third, hydrate yourself, as body needs plenty of fluids to replace lost body fluids due to vomiting or diarrhea, or even more to fight off the infection. Ease your breathing for using a vaporizer, so it helps to have a better sleep. Eat healthy foods such as fresh fruits and vegetables, provide important vitamins, minerals and antioxidants that strengthen your immune system as it fights off the virus. Vitamins such as A, D, E and C are vital for the immune system. Sleep as much as possible. Add moisture to the air. Example include cool mist, humidifiers and steam vaporizers. Take a hot bath or shower before bed. Take medications to deal with nasal congestion, fever, headache and body aches. Use home remedies such as spoonful of honey for soothing a sore throat or cough. Antiviral drugs with doctor's prescription. Getting vaccinated, which is most important in the present scenario. Then positive attitude, because this is also equally important, because in the second COVID wave is increasing, is one of the reasons because of fear, where because of fear the patient trembles and because of fear he runs to the hospital in search of beds, oxygen, all those things, which affects the mental health as well. Then here the simple basic which you already learned, wash your hands, right? Then you can see here the various viruses are there, but all viruses require different vaccines or different medicines, because one virus or all viruses does not have one medicine. If you see the first one virus, it is drops. For example, the polio drops are required. The remaining, if you see second, third, fourth, fifth, etc., they are given different injections or different vaccines. And if you see the last one, where you can see tablets in case of cold, flu, etc., the antibiotics are taken. So each virus or each strain need different vaccination, different medications, okay, other than the basic things which we are doing. Then scientists, we have to appreciate them, as they are trying to find out the different vaccines for different variants, strains, etc., putting their 24/7 time period in finding out the different strains and accordingly to create a vaccine. Then here global vaccination has improved 116 million children worldwide, right, which equals 86% of children, but still 19 million children still miss out. So we have to work out about that, because if you see that remaining number of 14% or 19 million is also a very huge number. So this 19 million could be affected. Then here in the second slide you can see a different vaccination. Once the mother delivers the child, doctor gives a list or a chart where the child has to be protected against various vaccines: GTP, hepatitis, HIV, HPV, MMR, pneumococcal, polio, rotavirus, etc. So vaccination should be taken accordingly. The date given from the first year of birth, second year, third year, till 5 years, there are many vaccines given provided, whether it's oral or injection, etc. And even nowadays, before 10 years, there is a vaccine required. After 15 years, there's a vaccine required. And in the present scenario, everyone requires a vaccine for the COVID-19, right? Then, so based on that COVID-19, so let's get vaccinated to overcome the present pandemic, present situation. And these vaccines work. Just to add over here, now we are taking two vaccines for the present coronavirus, right? Now both vaccines, as I mentioned, they are different strains, but these vaccines at least help us to obtain immunity. So taking vaccines helps to be at least prepared. As we learn in detail when about our immune system, there are memory cells present, so at least they get an idea that these are viruses, so it can have a basic immunity provided for any type of viruses. So vaccines do work. Thank you, all of you.